just how bad or just how dire the situation was. But we had winds that could have been close to 100 miles per hour with this particularly dangerous situation here. It's kind of funny too. Funny is probably not the best word to describe it, but interesting. We'll go with that. Early today, it looked like there was a chance for severe weather, but it did not look like something like this would happen. And then Garrett and I started texting each other, I think it was even as early as around 8, 9, 10 this morning, saying, you know what, things are actually looking like they're going to be pretty bad. We started letting our bosses know, letting people know that they probably want to come in early. I know there was some football practices in Iowa this morning. Some were supposed to be first practice of the season happening right now. Well, clearly, those would have been canceled or pushed back, and for good reason, as the skies got dark, the skies got stormy, and now the worst of the weather is past the Quad Cities. So all of us are real happy about that. Again, there's going to be cleanup to do. There's going to be little branches down. There's going to be big branches down. There's going to be big trees down. As of right now, we haven't heard any reports of any injuries, and that is absolutely great news. So here's some live video. This is more than likely from Local 4 Storm Chaser Colby Martin. I'll let the folks in the back let me know. But you can see, again, some small branches, some small little bits of trees. And as you look around, again, you can see different kinds of damage, and it's that kind of a day here. Later on tonight, if you're in one of the areas that was hardest hit, well, you might hear some sounds that you don't hear all the time. You might hear somebody's generator going. And, well, you might hear people congregating in their backyard just a little bit because at least they have power where other parts of the neighborhood might not. Chainsaws, you might hear some of those also because it's going to be that kind of cleanup that needs to be done here as we get into our Monday evening, but it's not going to be done quickly. It's going to take a little while. Anybody who has a tree service, well, they're going to be busy over the next few days, and I'll say it now. I don't want you to, if you find somebody, if they give you a deal that sounds like it's too good to be true, it might be that. So I don't want anybody to get scammed. Unfortunately, that kind of thing comes up when we have weather like this. But our weather is improving in the Quad Cities. The worst of the weather is off to the east. Here we are a little bit before 3 o'clock. And it sounds like we're going to see if Ann has another report of some damage, some stuff coming in on social media. Ann, you've been following that damage this afternoon?
I have been looking at reports on social media, but I'm also just getting a couple of emails. Davenport Community Schools just sending out an email moments ago stating that the board meeting that they had for tonight, that's going to be canceled because of this weather. They don't want you to travel either. They want you to stay home, get the latest updates from Chief Meteorologist Andy McCrae. Blackhawk College, this is from the police department there, the college police department. They say for August 10th, Blackhawk College is closing all locations due to power outages. This, of course, related to our weather conditions, not only throughout the state, but especially here, right in the Quad Cities area. Mike Colon, one of our photographers, he was on Highway 61 reporting those 3 semis that overturned. He moved his way over to Jersey Ridge Road, and we're waiting for images from him, but we know that there is a tree blocking that road. That is going to be the big problem. If somebody's at work right now, they're trying to get home, maybe their bosses let them off work early, the wind speeds bringing all these branches down, and more importantly, big trees that came down. We have a report that it came down on 1 car, 2 actually. So if you can stay home, if you're at home right now watching us online, or maybe you still have your power, just stay home if you can. Maybe just call the person on their phone, make sure they're okay if they're trying to get home from work. We continue to monitor some other social media images, and I don't know if we have any of those to pull up to show you what we are seeing. Okay, we're going to try to keep working on that, but let's send it back over to Chief Meteorologist Andy McCrae right now to get you the latest as we wait for some of these images coming in from social media right now. Andy.
All right, thanks for that latest update. And Garrett's also working on some pictures right now. Our weekend sports anchor, Dustin Nolan, he sent Garrett some pictures of some tree damage, I believe, in Davenport. So I'll talk about the radar. Garrett, you could do your thing getting those pictures ready, and we'll get them on air here shortly. You see some thunderstorms off to the west now. We're looking at, there could be a few additional thunderstorms here. I don't think, I know it won't be anything like what has happened over the last 90 minutes or so. So that is some very good news there, some relief there. Here's the worst of the storms. The warnings are now east of the Quad Cities and just about east of our entire coverage area. This will be the topic here all day long, basically, on Local 4 News at 4 and 5 and 6, 24/7 at ourquadcities.com. And we'll still be talking about it later tonight on Fox 18 News at 9 and Local 4 News at 10. So again, just because the weather has improved, we're not going to be able to forget about this and move on from this. So here's the latest on the radar right now. Again, everything moving off to the east. And it does sound like we have some new video to share with you. Jim's on top of that with another update about that. Jim, what do you have now?
And we showed you a little while ago that little fire in Galesburg, certainly where it was the utility pole at the base, just some live wires there. Well, this is something in Rock Island, much closer to home. This was sent to us by viewer Troy Pyatt. We're very thankful for him for this. This is in Rock Island by like 25th Street and 7th Avenue, I believe. Let me just double check my notes here. This is a fire there you can see from this angle. It's off in the back, and it's Close and Company is the business there. They actually restore old salvage like Metro buses, and he sent me a separate photo. Sent us a separate photo. We don't have that for you now from the back where the fire crews have responded to it, but certainly an intense fire there. You see the intense flames from Troy being sent to us there. This is at 25th Street and 7th Avenue, or 25th Avenue and 7th Street, excuse me there, that's where it is exactly. And certainly some intense flames there. It looks like there's an extensive bit of damage done to that yard from another photo that he sent us, but fire crews, last picture that he sent actually looked like they had it under control. The flames were out at that point, but we don't know the cause of this fire, but when we think of everything that's been going on today, and with utility lines or electrical lines and wires being knocked down, that we don't want to know for sure, but certainly that is certainly a factor in the equation, certainly to be considered. But certainly firefighters responded very quickly and got that situation under control, it looks like, this afternoon. So one of these damaging situations. A quick update on the power outages for you. More than 150,000 without power in Iowa for Mid-America, and then overall in the Quad Cities area of Iowa and Illinois, more than 3,600 customers still without power in the immediate Quad Cities area. And we go over to Ameren, Illinois. They've got a total of, this is ComEd, excuse me, 157 active outages, 13,000, almost 14,000 customers, about 1,000 of those in our area. Then we look over to Ameren, Illinois, I should say, and we've got another 1,000 or so in our immediate area. We talked about New Boston, Keithsburg, Monmouth, and those types of places. Certainly hundreds of people, close to 1,000 people without power. Mid-crews are aware of it. They're trying to get them as fast as we can. This is one of those days and nights we have to be patient because resources get stretched very thin. But I'm going to send things over back now to Chief Meteorologist Andy McCrae for the latest on what's happening outside. Andy?
Patience, that's a good thing there that you're talking about, Jim, because again, there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done, and those crews, it's amazing. You might have noticed before, they are up there as quickly as they can be. They're en route basically immediately, and as soon as they can start working and it's safe, at least relatively safe anyway, they're out working then. So we appreciate all the work that they're going to be doing here in the near future. All right, Garrett put these pictures together. Garrett, these are in from Dustin, and you said this was from the Davenport area. Garrett, you did all the work on these from Molina. Okay, you did all the work on these. I'll let you take this.
Yeah,
so these came in from Dustin just a little while ago.
Yep, just kind of scrolling through those. He sent me just, I think, 3 or 4 photos. This next one I'm going to pop up here in a second. So look at the gazebo, looks like, around his area. Again, this is over, I believe, in, I don't want to say East Moline, but the Moline area. So definitely saw a good amount of wind damage. You guys over in Moline are not alone. Plenty of other storm damage. We've heard numerous reports coming in. I know watching our Facebook feed too, we are over about 93 comments right now. A lot of them are power outages, down trees. I've heard some reports already with some of the comments that Alicia there, she said that her tree was a brand new tree, about a year old, full grown, 1 foot in diameter, snapped at the base. Nothing but a small stump now left on the ground. Other neighborhoods losing large oak trees as well, trees blocking a lot of pathways and whatnot. So if you are out and about, be careful about road conditions right now with all those downed trees, power lines and whatnot that is currently still on the ground.
All right, those are good pictures. Thank you for that update, Garrett. Thank you, Dustin, for sending those in. And something else very important that we just kind of touched on a little bit. It's a good idea, Garrett. Okay, if you're outside and you're out in the neighborhood and you see a power line that's down, don't think, oh, well, it's probably not active or not live anymore. You have to treat every single power line as if it is live and it is active and it is fully electrified. So don't come close to any of those. Just call Mid-American or whoever the power company in that area might be. Let them know the location and they'll get to it just as quickly as possible. But do not try to do anything yourself. Do not try to move any branches around that by yourself, because that could be a real bad result and something that we don't want to have to mess with. So east of the Quad Cities, this stuff is still very good, you know, where the storms are still happening, and then avoid trees and power lines that are down. Do that throughout the area. And again, it's not just a power line maybe in Davenport and one somewhere in Bettendorf and one somewhere in East Moline. There are a lot of them down, and this is a situation that's going to have to slowly improve here, even with all the crews working as hard as they can, as quickly as they can. This is not something that goes away just like that. So we'll give them their space, and we'll do our best to let them know if we do see where there are some power lines down. So still a little bit of rain coming down in the Quad Cities. Rain, again, the rain totals, it's not going to be all that bad. A little bit of good news there. We needed the rain, but right now, if you have the power out and you have a sump pump down in the basement, you don't want there to have been very heavy rain. So we're glad that these storms have been somewhat progressive as they continue moving off to the east. So we got those pictures in from Dustin. Again, we have many pictures coming in, a lot of video too. We're going to be able to show you that throughout the rest of the day. Heaviest rain has been north of the Quad Cities. We'll continue tracking the storms. Ann and Jim, they continue to track the news. And here's Ann with a little bit more about the really nasty, severe weather we've had today. It is taking a toll on a lot of people here around the Quad Cities.
Yeah, I know. My neighbors texted me. They know I'm home during the morning hours, and most people leave for work 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, asking me, please move in our furniture so that it doesn't get blown around by the wind. So able to help my neighbors out there in Bettendorf, right next to Hopewell Elementary School. But we're talking about power outages. I know Bettendorf has seen a number of power outages. There's a lot to report here in the Quad Cities with power outages. Through the state of Iowa, over 150,000 people without power right now. Let's go ahead and send it to Zachary Winnicky live in our digital newsroom, I believe, with the latest possibly on the power outages, but I know you're also tracking Facebook, Twitter, and all social media accounts trying to get the latest images too, Zachary.
Yeah, and when it comes to those power outages, like you mentioned, 150,000 out in the state. In the Quad Cities, just over 2,000 power outages, at least customers affected. In the Illinois Quad Cities, over on the other side in Iowa, almost 4,200 customers affected by power outages. And now also we've been getting some pictures from our photojournalist Mike Cologne, who's kind of out tracking the storm and looking for damage. And right here, I don't know if you can see it on my screen, there's some pictures of trees down. He's counted 3 semi-trucks that have been down on the highway and more trees blocking roads. And then when it comes to the comments on our Facebook, we've gotten people saying they have power outages in Rock Falls. I mean, as far as out there, and there's been some in Bettendorf. There's some near Devil's Glen in Bettendorf, and there's a lot of branches on the road there. So a lot more things coming in now that the storm is kind of sort of starting to pass. But as you've seen, there were some pretty significant damages there on the highway, and a few semi-trucks flipped over. And we'll have more for you coming up later on. But for now, back to you, Ann.
All right, Zachary Winnicky reporting live for us in our digital newsroom as we continue to track what you are reporting to us from social media. And of course, we have crews throughout the community, all surrounded throughout the Quad Cities, tracking the storm as we try to keep you ahead of the storm. At the forefront of it all has been Chief Meteorologist Andy McCrae, and Garrett is here on deck too with the latest in terms of not only power outages, but in how fast the wind speeds were. We're talking about these wind speeds. If you've ever lived along the coast and ever been a part of a hurricane, when we talk about Cat 1 hurricane, you're talking about speeds 75, 85 miles per hour. We experienced that right here in the Quad Cities. Chief Meteorologist Andy McCrae back now, right now, joining us with the latest on most of the storm moving out of some of our area right now. But how high are the wind speeds now, Andy?
And on the east side of the coverage area, the far eastern side, getting a little closer to central Illinois, it's just about out of the viewing area, but these are where the very strong winds are left. And again, as they continue moving toward the other side of Illinois, we'll be able to, not have to worry about it too much anymore. We'll let our friends over in those areas take care of it. But so these are the strongest storm winds. They could still be 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. Earlier, though, some of these winds were around 100 miles per hour, so forget about Category 1 hurricane. Believe it or not, some of the winds would have been up around Category 2 hurricane strength. So it's crazy to think that way, but that has exactly been the case here. Right now, again, a lot of these winds are off to the east of our coverage area, so we're kind of starting to focus a little bit more on the cleanup and getting people back online with power outages. Last time I checked in the Quad Cities, the number had jumped up to about 6,000 people. Ann and Jim will continue to follow those numbers and keep us updated. So the worst of the storm winds now far east of the Quad Cities. Storm reports, they're going to continue to show up and pile up as more info trickles into the National Weather Service. You can see again east of the Quad Cities some of that, Galesburg, Fulton, DeWitt, and then a whole bunch of them around the Quad Cities. So we are looking at, again, very strong winds. We'll go ahead and clear that off. And that is the latest on the Pinpoint Doppler radar. I'm going to go back to the reflectivity mode here, and we're going to show you that we're going to loop this over the last couple of hours. So here we are at 3 o'clock. I think we started this coverage today at about 12:45. One of the first things I said was, buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride, and we're going to have to be on TV for a while today, and this is why. Look at that line of storms, went right through the Quad Cities. No part of the area has truly been spared from these bad thunderstorms. So again, this is why we've had such extensive coverage today, team coverage that you won't find anywhere else. We've got some of the best journalists working on gathering all this info from all around the Quad Cities, because on this kind of a day, it's really not a job for 1 or 2 people. It's literally as many people as we can get in, and that has been the case today. So again, the storms are now well east of the Quad Cities. Some of the video that we showed you that bus video where the fire was. That's incredible video. And also look at the Our Quad Cities cam video. And again, this was earlier today. This was between 1 and 1:30. So we want to stress that. There's not a second round coming into the Quad Cities that we need to be overly concerned with. But this was just incredible. That is exactly what it looked like from our Quad Cities cam in Rock Island. This was right when the storm was coming in. The top of the river going backwards, going from the railroad bridge back to the Centennial Bridge and back toward the Arsenal. Look at that flag down in the bottom right-hand corner. That thing is straight out. You can tell which direction the winds are coming from. This was, again, incredible. We've had this camera for years and years and years. I often say it gives us the best view of this kind of stuff heading for the Quad Cities. And it's never provided a view like this before today. We've had strong winds other times. I have literally never seen this happen. Again, a combination of the strong winds, picking up a little bit of dust and debris, some of the rain mixing in too. It was just an incredible sight earlier, as this is right as things were about to go off the cliff. I've stopped saying downhill because it was more like off a cliff. It came in fast, it hit hard, and then it stuck around for a little while here. Now the winds have really died down around the Quad Cities. We showed you live video earlier from right outside our door. Branches coming down during that live video. We had live video from Colby Martin in DeWitt. And as we were looking at his video, you could see the power go out at one of the restaurants there in DeWitt. He's parked now. Still trying to tell if that's a tree down where that car just drove past, maybe had to drive around. Can't tell if it's that or if it's just a bush over there, but you can see definitely some debris kind of strewn about. Look at the flag there, still blowing around a little bit, but you can see the trees too that are still standing. Most of the worst of the wind has now come and gone. We also had the video from Ryan Risky. A little bit of a fire in Galesburg, around that area. Galesburg also hit hard from the storm. It's just been incredible. A lot of the times, you know, as we're covering things, it might be the northern, well, we'll say the northern half of the viewing area, and then people in the southern half of the viewing area, they'll be a little bit upset because they don't get to watch their television show, or because their weather doesn't get all that bad. This time it was Local 4 and Fox 18 area wide. All of us had the bad thunderstorms. Some of us, no doubt, had it worse than others, but there are tree troubles all around the area. Well, that line of storms, that continues moving off to the east, so that is a very good thing. The severe thunderstorms, they're now mainly east of the Quad Cities. That is a good thing. So here we are a little bit after 3 o'clock, and again, it has definitely now shifted from a weather event, a severe weather event. It's kind of a little bit of a hybrid now. Still talking about the weather, of course. We're still still happy to give radar updates, but again, our news team, they're dispatched all over the area, and that's where we're able to give you the updates, not just from the Quad Cities, from Fulton, DeWitt. We heard reports of semis down in Muscatine. That's another thing that we heard. The north side of the Quad Cities, if you're going north on Brady Street, Highway 61, not one, not two, 3 semis there overturned, according to our photojournalist Mike Cologne. He's been in the business, he's been around the block a long time, and he even said this is nothing like he's ever seen around the Quad Cities. So there was that to think about too. Jersey Ridge, a large tree down Jersey Ridge, that's also in Davenport. So again, we're talking about widespread damage from a line of widespread storms. Earlier I said this was going to wreak some havoc in the Quad Cities. I think that turned out to be a very accurate way to describe things, because again, these damage reports, they're just still coming in. Power outage reports still coming in. Jim and Ann have been following that lately. I think we can get another update on those numbers from Jim, and we'll send it over to him for an update. Again, thousands of people without power. I'm still surprised the number's not even a little bit higher, but what is the latest that you have for us, Jim?
And to get to those numbers in just a moment, but they have climbed higher, as you can imagine, for sure. We talked about a fire in Galesburg earlier. We've got some more images from that fire where a power line went down and crews responding, knocking it out quickly. You see the sparks there and certainly the live wire there. This is at Main and LeClure Streets, just outside of Steele Elementary School. The firefighters got there fairly quickly and certainly got it under control and kept the damage to a minimum. Certainly, these are areas that you want to stay away from. In fact, McClure Street there is closed right now to all traffic. As you can see, treat any down wire that you see as a live wire, one that could be deadly if you get anywhere close to it. Quick update on the power outage situation. Mid-American Energy and overall for the Quad Cities area of Iowa and Illinois combined, almost 6,200 customers without power. Fulton got hit big. This is a ComEd customer, 1,800 customers there without power. Go through the list of some big cities area right east of Burlington in the Gulfport area. We're talking about 120. Monmouth, almost 500 customers without power, and Galesburg and the surrounding area there, about 310 customers without power. So we add it all up, getting close to 8,000 or 9,000 people in the Quad Cities area that we cover for you this evening. Let's go check now back into the digital newsroom with Local 4's Zachary Winnicky is standing by with some of the social media activity. Zachary, what do you have for us?
Yeah, Jim, you mentioned the power outages, and we're getting a bunch of pictures here on our Facebook. We asked you, the viewers, for what you've seen around your homes, and this is from Tisha. She has a tree down in her backyard in Kelowna, and then we have more tree, more debris, but then there's some more interesting photos as I scroll down here. A full tree fallen, looks to be almost, if not on the house, close to a house. There's another tree down here in Davenport on Iowa Street. And then somewhere in here, a man had a tree fall down on his garage. And you can see right here, pictures before the storm, very ominous looking. And so we're getting a whole lot of pictures here. Here's the picture of the tree that fell on the man's garage. That's in Silvis. So if you have your pictures, you can send those to us on our Facebook at Local 4 News WHBF TV. But for now, live in the newsroom, Zachary Winnicky, Local 4 News. Back to you, Jim.
Zachary, thank you for that update. Certainly we appreciate everyone at home sending us their side of the story, what's happening where you are, those pictures, the videos, just the commentary. Certainly keep those coming throughout the we're covering. Certainly it's our big story of the day, one of our bigger stories of the year when you talk about it, putting in the top 5 or top 10, certainly for sure. Let's get a last update from Chief Meteorologist Andy McRae. Things we hope are easing for the afternoon, Andy.
Things definitely improving weather-wise here in the Quad Cities and for the entire area. I'll show you the radar here shortly. One last look at some of the pictures. This is around 14th Avenue in Moline. You can see a tree there. That's down. I think we have another picture or two from Dustin. Here's a little more damage. Again, 14th Avenue in Moline. Thanks to Dustin and Garrett for getting these pictures together. And then another one. And again, this scene right here, fairly common throughout the area, and we're going to have a lot more of this coverage here a little bit later today. Before we send things back to our regular programming, we'll get you to the 3 o'clock shows here on Local 4 and Fox 18. The weather in the Quad Cities improving east of town. That's where the worst of the weather is. Everything we've gone through last hour or 2 or 3 now, well, our friends in Chicago, they're going to have to deal with it here in the near future. So we're going to go ahead and send things to our regular programming. We'll have much more of this on Local 4 News at 4, 5, and 6. We want to see you then. And if you don't want to wait that long, that's okay. You can go to ourquadcities.com right now. A lot of storm coverage, pictures, and videos there now. And we'll see you for Local 4 News in just a little bit.